Hey everybody, welcome back to our family's board game channel, House Rules. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Aurora. I'm Faith.
And I'm Victoria.
So on today's installment of House Rules, I thought we'd talk about cooperative games. Our family plays, until we did our A to Z challenge, we would take every Sunday and play Gloomhaven, or there was a couple other games that we play. But I thought, hey, why don't we give you people a list of our kind of favorite cooperative games. So each of us picked out a game that we're willing to play. We might say, hey, let's play this game, this cooperative game, when we're feeling kind of cooperatively.
If we played it every day, we would.
Yeah, if we played it every day, we could. Or would. And then we kind of got one that we all were like, yeah, I'd really like to play this one until it was done. So, we'll get to that one last. It's a goodie. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this party started. All right, Victoria, since you're on the end and it makes the easiest movement, let's start with you. What's your cooperative game of choice?
My cooperative game of choice is Mansions of Madness by Fantasy Flights, and the version that we have is the second edition, so that'll be slightly different from first edition.
Yep.
But the goal of Mansions of Madness is to complete different scenarios, and it's an app-driven game, so the scenarios will change based on the characters that are playing, the amount of players, and I think the amount of times you've played it. But that's all tracked within the app. It's modular, even within those different scenarios. So the app kind of guides you to set it up different ways based on the different levels of the scenario. And the goal is to complete different objectives. Players will take an investigator phase, and they can do a couple different actions, move, search, that kind of thing. And each player does their investigator phase, and then they move on to the mythos phase. In the mythos phase, usually bad things happen to the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not that bad.
Yeah, sometimes not that bad.
It's not terrible. So the game will continue like that until the objective is completed.
Or completely failed.
Or you fail.
Yeah, the really cool thing about the Mansions of Madness being on the app is you can download extra DLCs, downloadable content. You can get other box sets that you can type into the app that, hey, yep, I have this one. And each box thing adds 2, 3, 4 scenarios, depending on whether you go with a small box, big box, or just like a DLC pack. And yeah, from the beginning, you can kind of choose, oh, I want this adventure. And it'll say, well, this adventure is a 4 out of 5 stars, or this one's a 2 out of 5 stars. And so, yeah, and then you pick your characters. It even has a little background music with it, so you don't have to get your phone out and, theme music. So, yeah, I think we've completed 1, 3. You kind of did a weird one where you won, but you failed at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the last time we played.
That was the last time we played. That was on the boat one. So we do have one box expansion, and then we've done, I think, all but one on the base scenario thing. So Mansions of Madness is a really good thematic, cool little miniatures that do come with it. The cool little boards that are double-sided. There's a lot of cool things. It's in the same world as the Cthulhu, Elder Core, Elder Signs, Arkham Horror sort of thing. So if you're into that, definitely look into Mansions of Madness for sure.
In other words, the scary games.
Yeah, the scary game. They are kind of scary, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Anyway, good choice, Victoria /Mom.
Thank you.
All right, Faith. Why don't we go with your cooperative game that you want to play?
My game is Roll for Adventure by Kosmos Games. You set the board up in a specific way, and then everyone picks a character that has an asymmetrical power that's different that helps out the game. And then you roll the dice and put them on a part of the board. Then you collect gems to win like a sword, a crown, a book, or something else. But
I can't remember. We never made that far. Yeah, in Roll for Adventure, I think it's really a 4-player game. That's it. You set up a board. Like you said, there's 4 different parts to it, and each section of the board is also double-sided. There's an A and a B side, and that allows you to play different ways depending on how many times you played it. Now, the way you beat the game is you pick your artifact that you're going to go after. The Book of Wisdom, the sword, there's a crown, and each one has a different gem count, right? Mm-hmm. Well, each task on the board that you complete adds a gem to this board. And when you've collected enough gems, you win. I like it because each player has a different colored die, so you can see it out on the board really easy. And that comes into play when you're doing different things. In between each person's turn, you draw an enemy card. And that's what makes the game extra hard, because you have to deal with not only the enemies coming out, they take your dice away.
And there's a Master of Shadows that loses on the skull count down, and then you got to reshuffle it in.
Each board has its own life counter, and one of the ways you lose is and there's a little skull token. If you get all the way down to the bottom and that piece is out, you lose the game as a group. So the Master Shadows, actually there's one way that not bad, nothing happens really. One of them, each little board piece takes a life hit, and then if you roll one of them, a single one takes 2 life hits. But the monsters, when they activate, there's different ways that they activate, and they'll do damage to your boards, or they will take away dice that you've already had, and then you got to spend an extra little bit to rescue those dice when it gets too bad. So if ever there's a player that cannot roll at the end of a turn, or at the start of their turn, the game's over as well. So we've lost this one a few times, but we've kind of gotten the hang of winning. We've won we've won the first 3 scenarios for it. So
The crown, I think.
We figured out a strategy for the game.
yeah. So the cool thing about it is there's dragons that you can add that make it a little bit harder. Like I said, flipping the boards over to the different sides makes it a little bit harder. So, and the game plays pretty quick. I mean, in 40 minutes you can have it set up and played, and then you could probably start tearing down and take a little longer. But no, I do enjoy this one too. It's fun to pull out. It gets frustrating when you're right there, but we needed one more gem.
Or if you're not good at rolling dice and you're like, no.
Yeah, as much as I hate rolling dice, and I'll still play this one because each dice face has something that it can do, and I think that's one thing missing in a lot of dice games. So, got anything else to add to that?
No.
No? All right, well then let's move on to
My game.
All right, Aurora, what's yours?
My game is Harry Potter Death Eaters Rising by OP Games. All the characters, they are working together to defeat Voldemort. How do you do that, you ask?
How do you do that?
You each have like a set of dice, and you roll those dice to get different Harry Potter characters and witches and wizards, and I think, and you also defeat Death Eaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, using the dice, you there's different factions that the witches and wizards belong to, and you are trying to defeat these Death Eater cards that are put out on the board. You're trying to collect the different wizards that are on the board using these dice.
And once you've defeated the amount of Death Eaters, it depends on the player count.
Yep.
Once you defeated those Death Eaters, then you can start defeating Voldemort once you draw them out of the deck.
Yep. This game we've played 3 or 4 times, and it's tough. It's even tougher if you don't put the Voldemort card back in during the setup like you're supposed to.
Yeah, so you're supposed to take them out and then put them back in.
Yeah.
Oopsie. But yes, it's cool to work together. There's a little cool Voldemort statue that points at one of the 3 locations that are in the books / films that are important to the story. And he's trying to corrupt those. And if one of the ways to lose the game is if one of those locations becomes too corrupted.
Or 12 witches and wizards die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that changes with player count too, maybe.
Yeah.
So
It does.
one way to win, multiple ways to lose. So, but it is, sometimes you'll feel like you're doing really good and then you'll just kind of stall out, and then sometimes you feel like you're doing really bad and then all of a sudden things start going right and then you still lose. No. No, you can do it. It's dice rolling. The different dice have different faces on them that will activate powers on your wizard cards. So yeah, it's super challenging, but it's very, very, very entertaining. So, and it's kind of, like I said, there's a cool gimmicky Voldemort statue.
So if anybody has any tips on defeating Voldemort, please leave us a comment and we'd be happy to hear it.
What's the witch and wizard combination we're really looking for?
And also, if you're good at rolling dice, you could definitely look into getting the game.
Yeah. So, and leave that in the comments if you're good at rolling dice. All right, so my game is The Legends of Andor by Kosmos Games. Or Kosmos. It's a cooperative game where you're working together. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
But the board is really cool. It's got different spaces on there that you are going to be moving to. The whole story that's done in scenarios builds on itself. The amount of players changes up. Kind of how enemies come, or how many enemies can make it into this castle area that's on the board, which is one of the reasons you might lose. But like I said, it's scenario based. It has a really cool movement counter where you have only so many hours in the day that you can move before you become exhausted. And the amount of turns kind of goes by quicker with the amount of enemies that you defeat. So you kind of have to be careful there, but defeating enemies is also how you get the story to move forward. So you can't really say a lot without spoiling too much, I guess, but it has some really cool minis. Like I said, the artwork is really cool. Each player has their own character that they kind of level up through the game, but I think you start over to some degree in each scenario, but you can build on yourself as you go. So we've played the first scenario 3 or 4 times since we've gotten it. We've played it with different people. We played it for the first time together with our with the family during when we started kind of our A to Z challenge, and we got to the L's. So and you guys, we did really good. We did the first 2 scenarios actually. We had just bad luck on flipping a couple of tiles over to find that witch, so we couldn't get her potion brewed fast enough, and we just kind of ran out of time. But when we get done with this A to Z challenge that we're doing, we'll definitely hop back into it. But I mean, we got a couple. We're playing Gloomhaven 2, so we want to kind of finish that one up, but can't have too many story games going at once, otherwise you go.
Are we also doing Now or Never?
Yeah, but that one's not totally a cooperative one. It's a story game, but we're almost done with that one too. That one's working up as well. So we got one more, and this is the game that we decided each of us really would like to play that game anytime. Like, okay, this will be my first choice of cooperative game. But then the other 4 were like, okay, I'd really like this game, but you might not, but you'll play it because you love me. I think.
Yes.
They all said no. Wow, that was fake. Anyway, so who's rock, paper, scissors, who's going to say it?
You say it.
Okay, I'll say it. Okay, you want to go? Shoot, dang I lose this.
Don't
every
hit
time.
me in the face.
All right, go ahead.
The family game is Hogwarts Battle.
Yeah.
And
You don't even know who it's by, do you?
I don't.
It's USAopoly.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. You can continue.
So, Hogwarts Battle is a deck building game. And the really cool mechanic for this one is each scenario is a year from the movie, from the book. So the first one is all the things that the characters that were introduced and happened in the Sorcerer's Stone. The second one is all the characters and stuff that were introduced in the Chamber of Secrets. And they build on themselves. Each person chooses one of the characters from Ron, Harry, Hermione, and Neville. And then if you get one of the expansions, you can get Luna, but she cheats. And then those characters will level up at certain points throughout the game. The first 2 seasons or years they're fairly easy. The first one's kind of more of an introduction to how to play the game. The second one kind of builds on that a little bit, and then once you get past that, the years start adding another mechanic that you can use throughout the game, and it just increases in difficulty from there. But it does make for a good suspense. Like you're not just going, I'm always going to lose this game, or it's super easy. It does get you right on the cusp of winning and losing quite a few times when we've played it. So I don't know really what else to say about this one. It's like I said, it's a deck building game. You're building up your deck to defeat the Death Eaters. There's also events that happen on each person's turn, and you're trying to stop them from corrupting, I guess again, the different locations. So it has similar mechanics to
Death Eaters Rising.
Well, yeah, that Death Eaters Rising. But if you've ever played any of the legendary games, where you're moving through some of the locations too, you're trying to prevent those locations from moving through in this one. So if you like Harry Potter, if you like deck building, that's a perfect game for you. So, and like I said, it's one that the setup and teardown is kind of a pain in the butt, but otherwise it's no, I wouldn't even say it's a pain in the butt. It just takes a little bit to organize everything. So, but if you've played any of these games that we've mentioned on our list,
let us know in the comments below.
Yep.
Or if you want to get one, let us know.
Well, yeah.
Also let us know.
If you do like in these recommendations and looking to buy them, first start with your friendly local game store. The one right now that we use most of the time is Mayhem. Excuse me. Mayhem Comics. So, but I guess really not local, but that's as local as that one gets so far. But otherwise, leave a comment about any of the games that we've mentioned here or other cooperative games that you really enjoy. Like this video.
And subscribe.
And hit the notification bell.
Do all of those things. And you can still have a great day. And come back to see us again on House Rules. Bye.
Bye.